Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to the showdown between the High Elves led by Ilariel the Radiant and the Lizard People who are going to be led by an Orange Sherbet Slan. So without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So here in the front line, I actually have an entire core of the White Lions. And you know what? I know a lot of people say they should be contenders for some of the worst units in the game, but I've been having pretty decent success against Saurus front lines. They do have relatively good armor at 90, and as you know, Saurus don't have the best armor piercing. And on top of that, the fact that they have a little bit of AP themselves is okay against dinosaurs and other stuff like that. And they actually do have some missile resist. So if you're facing off against a really annoying like skink army and things like that, you can see there are a couple chameleons here. They're going to be somewhat durable. Yes, I still don't think White Lions are a good unit, but I feel like they do have a bit of a niche in the Lizardmen matchup. Granted, you can go with like spears and then that cuts the cost, but I've been having an okay time. So we do have a front line of the White Lions. I think in total we do have 4 groups here. We got some spearmen in the back and a very heavy cav force. So we do have the Fireborn, which are the regiment renowned of Dragon Princes. And since the Lizard people don't really have like a Fate of Buna type effect, I mean, I guess the Toad does have like a Statuette of Spite, which I think is like a mini Fate of Buna effect. But still, they're going to be somewhat durable in this matchup. They have anti-large, which is quite good against the dinosaurs. They can pretty much stomp all over the Lizardman cav, especially with the support of Apotheosis from, well, not Apotheosis, Earthblood from Ilariel and the Star of Averlorn. So definitely some decent stuff, and we'll see how they do. We do have 2 groups of Valyrian Reavers, one here and one on the far side to hunt down skinks. And then we also do have another group of natural Dragon Princes, which aren't going to be the RORs, and yeah, they do pretty good. They can cycle charge Saurus really effectively, and each of them is going to be tag teaming up with the Noble. So the Noble, incredibly good against Lizard people. Anti-large, armor piercing, fairly durable himself with really good combat stats, and yeah, definitely a beast. Got the Pigeon Queen for spells. We do have Arcane Unforging to use on the Slans to kind of slow him down a little bit. Earthblood, and that's pretty much it. Just a Star of Averlorn, and yeah, always a good time. For my opponent's army, he does have Chameleon Skinks. Chameleon Skinks looks like 2 groups. 2 groups of Horned Ones. So Horned Ones can actually put up a decent fight against Dragon Princes. They still lose, if I'm not mistaken, to the Fireborn. I'm actually not sure how they would trade with regular Dragon Princes. But nonetheless, I do have a Noble with each group. So hopefully the Noble plus the standard Dragon Princes can win these engagements on the flanks. But that'll be interesting to see. A couple groups of Skink cohorts probably get up and around the flanks. If I had archers, they would be pretty annoying. Front line of Saurus Warriors, he does have 2 Bastillodons with the Solar Engine, so these guys are just going to be going to town on whatever. They can actually, honestly, if you just sit these guys on Ilariel, they can do quite a bit of damage, so I really got to watch out for these. And last but not least, the Orange Sherbet Slan, so you can see the ice cream on the back of his neck is indeed melting, and he's got Tempest, Apotheosis, Arcane Unforging, no, I don't know what I'm talking about here. Apotheosis, Tempest, Arcane Unforging, and then he also does have the Blood Statuette of Spite and the Aura of Pretzel here, which... what does that do? That gives 25 melee defense and armor. That's actually not bad for like blobs. Okay, cool stuff. Banishment, all that fun times. He just doesn't have the Ruination of City that Jabba the Hutt has. So anyways, guys, let's get this show on the road. So the White Lions, the best units in the game here, are going to be advancing. We're going to be trying to take it to the Saurus. In the meantime, I am getting up and around the flanks with the Fireborn. I'm going to try and pick a fight with these Horned Ones. But you can see Ilariel is actually already taking quite a bit of damage. She doesn't have any weakness to fire or anything, but she only has 30 armor. And the Bastillodons here, if you look at them, like they have high weapon strength, but the overall AP on that is pretty low. But against the Pigeon Lady up here, she's just taking a whooping from those guys. So I do get a cycle charge with the Reavers here on these Skinks, trying to get some free damage in. The Saurus in the front line, not Saurus, my White Lions are advancing as well. And I think I actually ended up using like an Earthblood already, which is going to be a little bit costly. On the flank, I do have a fight. So we got a good charge over here, and we met these Horned Ones in combat. The Apotheosis going off on the Horned Ones from the Jabba. The Orange Sherbet Slan, and the Fireborn are taking some damage, definitely a little bit more than most other cav units, because Horned Ones do hit hard, but Fireborn are like designed to kill such cav. Really powerful, and of course I think I get the Star of Averlorn here in a second. So I've lost 8 models, but we've crushed those Horned Ones pretty good, and you can also see the Nobles getting healed up, so in total we lost about 8 models, but the Star of Averlorn will heal them up pretty well. It's a huge healing ability, so we get a good fight there. In the meantime, these Illyrian Reavers are able to catch the Skinks, which is incredibly nice, catching those little weasels. But a Tempest going down. So the Orange Sherbet Slan is going to be locking down the Pigeon Lady, and this is going to be tough because now she's going to be... you can see the little Skinks are throwing javelins at her, and she's just getting blasted. So really rough engagement. So I was kind of panicking here. I was like, oh man, I better get these Fireborn and other troops in on these Bastillodons. The Fireborn still don't have the best AP, so the Bastillodons aren't going to melt. They're still going to be somewhat durable, and my opponent does use a Banishment here, which... seems to be doing some pretty heavy damage against these Fireborn, so pretty good stuff. Unfortunately for him, it does rotate out in the wrong direction. On the far side, we do have another engagement with the Horned Ones and the Dragon Princes, and I think it's favoring me simply because I do have the Noble in here, so the Noble provides a lot of like heavy armor-piercing anti-large, and these guys actually have 100 armor, so and the standard Dragon Prince is performing pretty well, so I have done well on the flanks. In the frontline fight, I did form the flank denial here, so the Spearman I kind of just catty-cornered up and blocked off his surround. The White Lions are putting up a good fight. You can see in the pits they're doing okay. We'll take a look at the kills here in just a moment, but we've got a pretty atrocious fight. I think the white lines do beat Saurus 1-1. So let's actually go ahead and look. So 44 kills, and it looks like the Saurus all have like low kills. They have like 1, 8, 12 there. So yeah, the white line's definitely performing. They're able to crush the skinks. They're beating the Saurus. Definitely very happy with their performance so far, which is something you don't hear terribly often. Over here, the nobles still fighting these horned ones. So horned ones get the shield of the old ones, giving them some durability in terms of leadership. They're kind of giving it back a little bit. Rallying in the fourth quarter, actually able to do a ton of damage to my dragon princes. My opponent does detach these skink cohorts, so definitely very good play, taking advantage of the speed. And now I'm trying to pull out. I'm like, oh man, this isn't good. And yeah, these dragon princes are wavering, and the horned ones are still fighting. The other group, thankfully, we did crush pretty badly. And you can see we do have a good surround here on the Bastillodons with the solar engines, as well as the Illyrian Reavers here are going to be helping, and the Noble, but they're still kind of maintaining. The Orange Sherbet Slan has been healing them with Apotheosis, and it's been a pretty bloody fight here. My opponent also did disengage from the front line, so he pulled back all of his Saurus. You can see my white lines are pretty much hot in pursuit here, trying to cleave some of these guys in the chase. But he's kind of just piling up on top of his Bastillodons, which is good, because if he has them fully surrounded, I have to pull back my Cav, and he can still shoot me. And it's going to take time to get through all of these Saurus. And you can see the white lines are really, really doing well. I mean, up to 64 and 46 kills, so definitely outperforming the Saurus. Granted, the bounce power is pretty even. If anything, I would say it's a little bit in my opponent's favor over here. And right now, I'm just kind of trying to re-rally my troops. So the Reavers, as well as the Fireborn, are kind of getting back. The Horned ones have been chatted off, and the Noble is, of course, in good health. And the Pigeon Lady, this has been really rough. She's been taking huge, huge damage. She actually was broken off. She has almost no HP, 300 HP. Her healing cap is close. I've been using Earthbloods and pretty much everything I can to kind of keep her alive here. In the forest, we have another fight. So the Reavers actually have re-engaged the Horned ones. And I do have the Noble here, so we should be able to win this. These Horned ones are really performing surprisingly well. I mean, if they're not rampaging into like spears, they're, yeah, here come the Dragon Princes from the forest. Yeah, that should be enough to break those guys. That's a brutal rear charge from, you know, a Cav unit that has a charge bonus of 80. So man, what madness is going on here? My opponent here does use the Blood Statuette of Spite, it looks like. I think it just wore off, but it is like a mini Fate of Boon effect. You can see the Reavers are going to be cycle charging the Saurus. So I do have them in a bit of a sandwich here. My infantry have surrounded the Saurus, and the Saurus are just kind of forming ranks around the Sherbet Slan as well as these Bastillodons. I'm just trying to cycle charge every chance I get and just break these guys off. So here come the Dragon Princes. But yeah, these Bastillodons are being surprisingly durable. And again, I think a lot of that can be allocated to the fact that the Fireborns don't have the best AP. So he's still getting melted though. You can see his HP is going down slowly. It's getting there. The Noble, of course, doing most of the damage. And I do get another heal off on these Fireborn, if I'm not mistaken, using the Heart of Avalorn to keep my troops fighting. I needed these white lines just kind of punch through these Saurus and do a lot of damage. So I was trying to, you know, heal those guys up. But another banishment from my opponent. And it looks like that one is going to do a ton of damage to the Fireborn. They actually get terrified, which is, you would think, like one of the most elite Cav units in the game would be immune to psychology, but it's not. So that banishment actually did a lot of damage, and it kind of leaves my Noble as well as my Reavers here. My Nobles, I actually have two of them, in a bit of a precarious situation. Regardless, the frontline fight is going well. Spearmen, white lines are all somewhat healthy, so that means that their martial prowess is still there. Which, you know, that's one of the things about white lines. When I first saw them when the game came out, I was like, wow, they have good stats for their costs. They're cheap, but the thing is, if they get beat up, then they're going to be, you know, just cost ineffective really quickly. But, you know, they're actually keeping most of their health with the Heart of Avalorn as well as Earthbloods and stuff like that. So they've been paying their dues, and you can see they're just kind of slowly grinding through these Lizardmen troops. The Swords are getting pushed back, and that's the thing about Swords. They don't have the best combat stats themselves. They just have hard-hitting weapon strength against light armor. So they're going to struggle against the 90 armor of these guys pretty well. And yeah, you can see pretty much all the lizard people are buckling, except the guys who have the Aura of Pretzel here. They have the melee defense and armor to kind of keep them fighting for a little bit longer. But in the back, my opponent has kind of reset the formation. The Saurus warriors and all these skanks are falling back and chasing off my Cav, doing his best to kind of protect those Bastillodons and the solar engines. I was able to isolate this Bastillodon from the pack, and separate him, and he's actually shattered now. So the two Nobles and these Dragon Princes definitely did their job. And at this point, it's kind of just preparing for the final fight. The Pigeon Lady, I've just been hiding her in the forest, literally just sitting her in the trees, because she, you know, a couple shots from those Bastillodons, and she could pretty much be out of the picture, which would be really rough for the rest of my army, having that leadership penalty in such a close game. But right now, my Reavers are going to be charging back in. The Spearmen and the White Lines putting up a pretty good show here. 52 kills in that group, and the Dragon Princes are coming in for a charge here, so hopefully they can get in and do some damage. The last charge of the, I was about to say the Rohirrim, but the Dragon Princes, we'll just say that. Dragon Princes. Dragon Princes get in there, they're going to be launching some of these Saurus, triggering the negative 14 leadership penalty from being attacked from behind here, which is going to be really good. And you can see suddenly a lot of these troops in the skanks and the lower tier ones are going to start buckling, and that could perhaps cause a chain reaction. And the Fireborn actually come back with the Steel Chair in the fourth quarter. They are going to be getting the Statuette of Spite, which does some pretty good damage against them. But nonetheless, they come in, get a great charge, and all of a sudden, the bounce power is shifting in my favor, and you can see there's a mass rout from the dinosaurs as the Orange Sherbet Slan does yell with his disapproval here. And the Pigeon Lady's actually kind of floating ahead. Well, it looks like she was falling there for a second off her mount, but she's okay. There's pretty much no winds of magic left. So at this point, it's pretty much just going to be cleanup as the lizard people are just breaking across the board, and the orange sherbet salon is pretty much done for. And it looks like my opponent is going to bow out. So well played. That was an incredibly good game. It was pretty cool to see the horned ones. That one group against regular dragon princes actually put up a pretty good fight, considering he was facing both dragon princes as well as nobles. That was pretty cool. The other one got smashed pretty bad by the Fireborn, which I think definitely was one of the reasons I was able to kind of overwhelm that flank. But man, the firepower from those Bastiladons with the solar engines was really ruthless. I mean, I almost threw the game early on, letting Alariel take that much damage, and I really wasn't expecting that. So that was pretty cool to see that from my opponent. The Skanks were able to shut down pretty easily with the Reavers, which is what they're for. They're really good at shutting down chameleons, which I like quite a bit. And the White Lions, 177, 142, 62, 53. I really do think they have a niche in this matchup, and really, I mean, they performed really well. I was quite pleased with their performance. So anyways, very well played to my opponent, Woodward Andrew P. Look forward to running into again on ladder, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this High Elf versus Orange Sherbet Salon game. Have an excellent night, guys, and take care.